Jared, how did you come to the intersection of, finance law and digital assets, and how did that shape the creation of Quantum Counsel?
That's always an interesting story, I'm sure. For each individual that comes on. Thank you for having me, by the way, Pete. So really, I had been interested in law ever since I was little. My dad was a criminal defense attorney. So we grew up at the kitchen table talking about, like horrific criminals and, all kind of things. So, lawyer kind of speak was really ingrained into me from a young age. Um, so from there, I was convinced that I was going to be a criminal attorney. That was my goal. So went to law school, and then after law school, I was like, well, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do like a shortcut before that. So I went to work actually with my brother, who owned an electrical subcontracting company. I was sort of the general counsel for him, and then that company actually got essentially bought out by another sort of a high net worth individual who retained me, and from there, that's really where sort of everything started. He was into real estate, movies. We started a movie company. We did a lot of real estate investments where, we would sort of dabble into securities laws where we're writing PPMs, we're dealing with subscription agreements and, falling within exceptions. So I was sort of got my feet wet dealing with those kind of, projects. And we had some this was really sort of took off right after Hurricane Katrina here in Louisiana and New Orleans. So from there, there's lots of money pouring in from federal agencies, specifically FEMA. And so now, anyone who was a contractor during that time actually did quite well. So they were like, okay, well, now we need to diversify because we've made all this money in Katrina, want to pay fewer taxes. How do we go about doing that? And this was really, I think, sort of the beginning of that. So that's kind of in a nutshell how that financial part started. Now, as far as the crypto part, I had been really interested in it and started buying Bitcoin probably around 2018 or 2019. And actually, with my current partner, also Jared, we we were hanging out. We were in the NFT craze, and I got into an NFT group called Neo Tokyo, which was quite cool. And from there, I met up with another attorney, and we, helped NFT projects, some layer ones, and we had done quite a few things with that. So I, at that point, sort of thought potentially this could be sort of an interesting business to have both the financial side and then the, sort of Web3 side come together. And then, Jared and I sort of talked about it more and more, and we were getting, more interest in it, and we were like, look, let's go ahead and do this. And we spun up Quantum Counsel. So that, in a nutshell, is pretty much how that happened.
Got it.